eBay is buying Depop for close to £1 billion. And if you sell second-hand clothing in the UK on eBay, on Vinted, on Depop itself, this deal is going to affect your business, potentially in a very good way. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what eBay is buying, why Vinted is right at the center of this story, and most importantly, what it could actually mean for you as a clothing reseller over the next few years. There's also something I haven't covered anywhere else. The deal hasn't closed yet. Right now, today, UK regulators are reviewing it. We're genuinely mid-story. I'll get to that later. I've sold over 4,000 items across eBay and Vinted. I run a store with over 1,000 live listings, and I automate as much of this as I possibly can. So when I look at what this deal could unlock, I'm looking at it from a very practical angle. What does it actually mean for the tools we use, the time it takes, and the money that we make? Right, let's get into it. Let's start with the facts. In February 2026, eBay agreed to buy Depop from Etsy for approximately $1.2 billion. That's roughly £950 million. Pocket change for us resellers. Etsy originally bought Depop in 2021 for $1.6 billion. They're selling it at a £320 million loss. They've decided to take a step back and focus on their core handmade marketplace. eBay is stepping in. Now, here's what makes this particularly interesting for UK sellers. The deal has cleared in the US and Germany, but the UK Competition and Markets Authority is still reviewing it. Closing has already slipped from Q2 to the end of Q3 in 2026. Now, Depop was founded in London. It's registered in England and Wales, and the UK regulator is deciding right now whether to let it pass to eBay. That gives us a genuine front row seat to this story. And the thing that matters most to you as a seller, eBay has confirmed Depop keeps its own name, brand, platform, and culture. It's not being absorbed. The app isn't going away. So why would eBay spend close to £1 billion on a platform it's not even merging with its own product? That's where it gets really interesting. eBay isn't buying an app. They're buying three specific things. Number one, young shoppers. eBay's reputation has always skewed older electronics, car parts, collectibles, dad's garage on a Sunday. That's not a criticism, it's just where the platform sits culturally. Depop owns a completely different tribe. Vintage fashion, streetwear, Y2K, influencer culture. It behaves more like Instagram with buying built in. And the UK data on younger shoppers is striking. eBay CEO Jamie Lanone has said directly that the Depop acquisition is about reaching younger consumers. He's not hiding it. Number two, protection against Vinted. I'll spend a whole section on Vinted in a minute. But briefly, Vinted has been growing at a pace that should be making every competitor very uncomfortable. And the UK numbers are extraordinary. By buying Depop, eBay now brackets Vinted. Without Depop, there was a gap. A whole generation of fashion-first resellers who weren't thinking about eBay as their platform. With Depop, that gap closes. Number three, infrastructure and AI. This is the one I find most exciting as an active seller. I use a tool called Listing Engine to AI generate my listings from photos. You take a picture, it writes a title, description, item specifics. It's very good, and it's a big part of how I manage over 1,000 items. Use code BEARDY30 for 30% off your first order. eBay has been building exactly this kind of technology natively. And when Depop plugs into eBay's infrastructure, that capability travels with it. More on this in a moment. Let me talk about Vinted properly, because I think it's the real engine behind this deal. I sell on Vinted. It's part of my setup. Zero seller fees, a massive UK buyer base, it moves stock. I cross-list between eBay and Vinted using a tool called Zip Sale. It automates a lot of that process and saves significant time every week. When you're running a reselling operation alongside other commitments, that kind of automation is what makes the volume possible. But look at what Vinted has actually been doing. That's not a platform growing. That's a platform reshaping its market. In January 2026, Vinted launched in the United States for the first time. They're building their own delivery network across Europe, their own payment system, and they've expanded into electronics, homeware, sports equipment, collectibles. They're building towards the same place eBay already is. I use two of those three. eBay for reach and trust, Vinted for volume and zero fees. The gap in that picture is Depop, the younger, fashion-forward buyer. That's precisely the gap eBay is spending close to £1 billion to fill. I don't think this deal's only about Depop sales figures. I think it's about making sure Vinted doesn't get an unopposed run at fashion-first resellers in the UK. Now, let's talk about the bit that I think is most practically exciting for sellers like us. As I mentioned, I use Listing Engine. You photograph an item, it generates a full listing, title, description, category, item specifics. It's one of the main reasons I manage the inventory volume I do. Without tools like that, managing over 1,000 items across multiple platforms would eat every spare hour. eBay has been building something very similar natively into their platform. In late 2025, they released what they call the magical listing experience. One photo, AI generates the full listing. They've already rolled it out to customer sellers in the UK. And around the same time, eBay eliminated final value fees for UK customer-to-customer sellers across all categories. They are deliberately trying to grow the part-time casual seller base here. Now, imagine that extended to Depop. One photo, AI generates a listing, cross-post to eBay and Depop simultaneously. Right now, I use ZipSale to cross-list between eBay and Vinted. That's already a time saver. But if eBay builds native cross-listing into its own ecosystem, eBay and Depop AI generated from one photo, the time cost of running a multi-platform operation drops even further, and that time goes back into your pocket. eBay's own announcement used the phrase broader inventory exposure through cross-listing. That's in the official statement. It's not accidental language, is it? Okay. This is a speculative section. Informed opinion, not confirmed news. Cross-listing. List once, reach eBay buyers and Depop buyers. The official statement used the word. I bet on this coming. Shared payment systems. eBay's managed payments infrastructure is solid. Depop running on that means faster, more unified payouts. Better for sellers on both sides. Authentication expanding into Depop's categories. eBay's authenticity guarantee already covers trainers, watches, trading cards and luxury bags. In 2025, they passed 1 million items inspected in a single quarter and launched luxury apparel authentication in the UK. The logical next step is vintage designer streetwear, Y2K, Depop's exact territory. For buyers, that builds trust. For sellers, it justifies higher prices. eBay expanded live stream shopping into the UK last year. Depop already behaves like a social app. It's discovery-led, not search-led. The younger buyer, eBay just spent £950 million to reach, doesn't want a search bar. They want to browse, discover, follow. I think eBay leans hard into that. What I don't think happens, Depop disappearing or being swallowed into eBay's main app. eBay has said this explicitly. The brand stays. That's the point of it. Let's bring this back to what it actually means for your business. First, some context on the market you're already operating in. You're not in a niche. You're in a £7 billion market heading for £12 billion. The biggest platforms in the world are spending close to £1 billion to get a bigger share of what you're already doing. That is the position that you're in. Scenario 1, your listings reach more buyers for the same effort. Scenario 2, if one listing reaches eBay buyers and Depop buyers simultaneously without extra work, your sell-through rate goes up and your days to sell comes down. I currently cross-list using ZipSale, which already improves both those numbers. Native eBay to Depop cross-listing with AI generation would push that further. More eyeballs per item, less time per listing. That's the compounding effect that matters when you're scaling. Scenario 2, eBay gets serious about fashion. For years, fashion felt like something eBay happened to sell, one category among hundreds. This acquisition signals it's now a strategic priority. That means investment in fashion-specific tools, better authentication, and more marketing aimed at young fashion buyers. If you sell clothing, you want to be visible on the platform that's actively investing in your category. Scenario 3. Platform competition works in your favour. Vinted's growing fast. eBay has just responded. When major platforms compete seriously for the same seller base, the result is better tools, lower fees, and more investment in the seller experience. We've already seen eBay remove customer-to-customer fees in the UK. That didn't happen by accident. More competition means more of that. Scenario 4. The regulatory risk is real, but the direction of travel isn't. The CMA could block this deal or impose conditions that's genuinely possible. But even if they do, the underlying trends don't change. AI listing tools are coming. Cross-platform selling is coming. Second-hand fashion is growing. Build your operation to benefit from all of that, regardless of who owns what. Here's the big picture. eBay is trying to become the operating system for second-hand commerce. eBay as the everything marketplace, Depop as a Gen Z fashion layer. Authentication, AI listing tools, cross-platform selling, a serious long-term challenge to Vinted in the UK. Whether it plays out exactly like that depends partly on what the CMA decides, but the direction is clear. And the people who understand it early, who have their systems, their inventory, their presence on the right platforms already, are going to be in the strongest position when it lands. That's what I'm building towards. And I'll keep documenting it here as the story develops. Now, if this was useful, subscribing means I can keep making this kind of content. And if you want the framework I use to actually build towards serious numbers as a part-time seller, Chapter 1 of Road to 100k is in the description. Free, no strings attached. See you in the next video. Over and out. Beardy Bert Flips.